Good evening and welcome to Inspire to Achieve Global TV. And this is the Executive Suite, and I'm your host, Roxanne St. Clair. And I'm delighted this evening to have a very special guest with me. But before I bring my special guests on to say hello to you, how has your week been? We last met on Monday evening and we were preparing for the week, getting ready and getting ourselves, charged up and ready to go. So how did your week go? Was it what you expected? Did you get all the things done that you wanted to get done? Did you achieve those goals that you had? Or was it one of those weeks where the more you tried to go forward, you felt yourself going backward? So, do share in the comments, do let us know. And we want you to ask loads of questions this evening and engage, because as you know, this channel is about communication, conversation. The more we share and interact with each other, the more we communicate, the more we each grow. So bearing that in mind, I'm going to introduce my special guest in just a moment. And, ask her loads of questions because she's a font of all knowledge. This lady is amazing. And I've had the great pleasure of knowing her and working with her in the last 4 years. And she's always got something valuable to give. She's really passionate about what she does. And although her main work or main line of business is around marketing and branding and expressing yourself in your business, she does far more than that, and she's about much more than that. And I've just seen her on so many different platforms where she's passionate about what she does. She really gets engaged, so much so that, a bit like myself, she's one of those people that ends up being asked to do loads and loads of different things because she will get the job done. So I'm really delighted to have this special guest with me this evening, and I'm going to introduce you to her. Her name is Noreen Cesareo, and she is just a phenomenal lady who I want you to listen to. Get your pens and paper ready and take notes. And as I said, ask loads of questions because, she's got so much knowledge in that head of hers that if you don't ask her the questions tonight, you'll be kicking yourself. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Noreen to come in and join us. So give her a warm welcome, and here she comes. Hi, Noreen. Thank you for joining us this evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you, Roxanne. That was quite an intro. How are you doing, and how are all your guests doing?
Right. Who have we got online? Okay, so we've got Deborah Chester who's given us a thumbs up. We've got a certain gentleman who you may know actually by the name of Gordon who's given the thumbs up.
Oh, hi, Gordon. As we go along, yes.
We've got Sheldon online who's saying that he's had a great week. So, wow. And I think we've got quite a few of the Inspire to Achieve teams. So we've got Beata online, who's another phenomenal lady who I know would love some of what you've got to share today. Oh, wow. We've got Galia online, who's another phenomenal lady who's now out in Bulgaria, and she will love what you've got to say today. So who else? We've got Maxine Winter online. Again, another lady that's got a lot of drive and passion. So we've got, they're in for a treat today. And I just encourage you to keep watching, keep sharing, keep liking and commenting, because we're really going to get some nuggets out of Noreen. So, Noreen, I've mentioned that you've got a marketing background and you're a lady that's passionate about everything that you approach. So would you like to share with our viewers a bit about yourself, let them know who you are, what you're about, and whatever you feel like you want to reveal this evening?
Oh, that sounds very inviting. Right. Well, you've already mentioned where we met, and that is through something which both you and I share.
Have we lost you? Where's she gone?
Me?
Right. Okay, so Noreen's been online and she seems to have, her camera seems to have gone to sleep. So I'll continue talking while she comes back online with us. And okay, so like myself, Noreen has this passion about education. And that's how we met, through empowering girls with education. But there's more than that, because for me, it was about looking at what women can contribute to the world and to their societies. And sometimes women are an underutilized resource could be within the home, could be within the business. And really, by giving them the power to seek the education that they want. That was the key for me and Noreen, which is how we met, to really do what we could do to encourage women and girls to actually get an education so that they can then become somebody of influence within their communities, and also, maybe go out and start working to generate an income, and then to build up on that income so that the families can prosper and therefore the communities thrive and do better. So this was something that was very passionate about, and we got engaged in. And when you see somebody go through that process and come out the other side and maybe starting their home businesses, there's just a message here. So let me just see. Right. Okay. So Noreen's just saying there's something. I think her camera's gone. So let me just respond to her on that. But do put in your message. Okay. Thank you. Right. So I'll just respond to her that her camera seems to have died. And let's see right, okay, let's see. Right, so let's see. She'll probably come back in and join us. So I'll continue just giving you a little bit of background whilst we wait for her to come back and join us. So so we started to. She's back with us. So let me bring her back onto the screen, and let's see. Hi, Noreen. Thanks for getting back with us.
I'm not sure what happened there. I could see and hear you, and you weren't seeing me. Technology at its best. Where would we be without it?
Exactly. And good job it was you that it happened to, because you're quite technically savvy. So can you imagine if it was somebody that had no clue what to do?
No, they will panic. But it's funny because I was hearing the way you were introducing what we both do, which we're both passionate about, which is obviously education, girls, and the impact that has both in communities and actually in countries. So it's quite powerful. So yes, to bring Roxanne's conversation almost to a bit of a conclusion, we are both sitting on a board looking after these girls and their funding within countries around the Commonwealth. And I am really humbled by the work we do. And on the other hand, very energized because we have an agenda which is always ongoing. We're not a very large team, are we, Roxanne?
There's what, 8 of us now? So
Yeah, we've just celebrated 50 years as a charity, and that is amazing. It's a small charity, and the impact it has had around the world is absolutely stunning. And actually, Gordon, since I know he was actually there, has designed our annual report this year, which is amazing. And I would urge all of you, if you're interested in seeing it and knowing more about it, to go to our website. Gosh, that's a bit of a plug. Sorry, Roxanne.
Now you're going to make me have to put the web address in there, Noreen. Thank you. Right, so let me type the web address in there, shall I? I'll see if I can remember the web address.
pefund.org. Just plugging our charity. So we've really established that I am very much into empowerment of women, a great believer in education, especially among girls. And this drives a lot of what I tend to do within my CSR hat, so to say. So during the daytime...
Can you explain CSR for those that may not be familiar with the term? Because we do often have a global audience watching. So if you can explain what that is, then if people around the world that watch us, whether now or on the replay, they'll know exactly what you mean.
Right, I get you there. So CSR, it's one of these wonderful anagrams. It's corporate social responsibility, and it talks about giving back within the communities. And I run a marketing consultancy, a strategic marketing consultancy called Market Accents, which I set up actually myself 11 years ago. And within the company ethos, the driving principles are passion and vision, which obviously drives a lot of the work we're doing, but there's also a giving back to the community. And this is what falls under the corporate social responsibility of our guidelines. So I am quite open to always looking at doing pro bono work for clients that I think are can be given pro bono, and this is generally they are charities or organizations that are not for profit that I feel I want to help back out again. So CSR is a term which covers quite a lot. It's very broad, and within the business community, if you're a very large corporate, international, your CSR program could be completely different to what I'm doing within my rather small environment. I am nowhere near a large or international organization. We do operate internationally because Market Accents is established in England. There's Gordon in Milan, in fact, and we've also got Malta as a contact, and we have businesses coming from international as well, because we've got clients both in the US and in Europe, UK and Malta.
And you say it so modestly. So that's UK, Malta, Italy, US. Where else have I missed anywhere?
Well, if you go back into my loving working around the world, we're great speakers as well. We speak lots of different languages. We're fluent. So I'm happy to continue dotting them as long as we can communicate, which gets us back into another driving force within what I do. I love communication. We do strategic marketing and comms, and we do that for clients, helping them find their voice within their chosen markets and actually assisting them to get the right communications to speak to that chosen market and chosen segment.
And one of our viewers has just said, wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. Well, I think it's amazing that I'm here speaking to you, because I do consider what you're doing to be truly amazing as well. And seeing just some of the people and the ones that are coming in, it's really great to see such a great audience. So you are all amazing, actually. Thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet of you to say. So what got you into marketing?
I've always been into marketing, I think, ever probably since I was born. It's something that I've had within me. I still remember myself as a 5 and 6-year-old sitting there and plotting. I used to love reading Enid Blyton, Mallory Towers, 5 go here and 5 go there. So in my mind, I was always looking at expanding beyond my horizon and wondering how to spin the story and sell it best. So from a very young age, I love writing, and I do write. I was always into creating stories and making those stories come to life. So as a communicator, it started rather early. Probably marketing didn't really come that early. That came at a slightly later stage, as I discovered marketing when I was starting to work both as an intern and then as a very junior, starting my way up the career.
Right. Okay. So you tapped on the thing about being a good communicator, and why are communication skills crucial to, say, business and running businesses effectively?
Let's put it this way: if you cannot get your message across, I'm not sure you can actually grow your business. You have to communicate with your audience, be it your shareholders, your stakeholders, your suppliers, your market, the actual customers and clients that you're servicing. So being able to communicate well across all media and actually using both language and tools that your clients and customers can understand, and stakeholders, it's the most fundamental. It's most fundamental in any business.
Wow, and that's a valuable piece of information, because I know a lot of people watching us this evening are people who are either at the early stage of starting a business or thinking of starting a business or even changing what they do for a business. So, sometimes if you've got a passion about something, you just want to do that thing. But you're not always thinking about, well, what is my message? How am I going to get that out? What am I going to say to people? How am I going to engage people to realize that what I've got to offer is what they want? And I'd be one of the first to put my hand up and say marketing wasn't something that was my forte, but I've observed you and seen how, even for the charities, the way that you put work messages out, even for today's interview, you did your marketing, you put your messages out. And, so it's a beauty for me to actually look at a professional in action, because I can learn from you just by watching you. So,
well, thank you on that. I must say it is the engagement, and you actually managed to engage pretty well as well. If you actually listen, and in fact, I see Galia's note, communication is key for success. Yes. Yeah. Ultimately, if we cannot communicate, you really have no business to talk about, because you may as well only be selling to yourself. It's a very fundamental aspect of human and mankind. We need to communicate. We communicate between ourselves as family, among our friends. So the messages aren't only seen from a business, you're always communicating in everything you do. And not only that, you communicate through through your voice, through the way you speak, through the way you actually act, the way you hold yourself. So messages, whether they're written, digital, printed, offline, you need to make sure you are communicating in a way that engages and that's not coming across or misread, because that is something that can easily happen if you're using the wrong medium. So that's where then you start going into the actual nitty gritty of the situation.
Wow, and that wow. See, you're just giving off these nuggets and these pearls. I wish I was writing them down. I'll have to go back and listen to this.
Oh, it's tricky to keep it simple without going into too much detail on a Friday evening. I'm sure people don't want to have marketing 101 or communications 101. So
You never know. They may go out at the weekend and meet some new people, and these nuggets that you're given may actually register and make the difference for them over the weekend. I'm just going to look at some of the messages and see who else is engaging with us. So we've got Khalida. Oh, I have to tell you about Khalida. See, I'm getting distracted already. Khalida is part of what we call the 12. Within Yes, You Can Inspire to Achieve, there are 12 of us that are almost like founder members that are going to go out and help change the world. And we're doing all kinds of things within that. And Khalida actually is 12 years old. So she's the youngest member of the 12. She's a motivational speaker, an award-winning speaker. And can you see a synergy, Noreen, with CGEF and having someone like Khalida who's out there motivating and speaking? So she's online. So hi, Khalida. We've got Renella who's come on board.
As an ambassador. Sorry, I am in awe. At that age, and to be doing what you're doing, it's so much in line with everything we believe in, especially from the CGEF. We'd be delighted to speak to you.
See, Noreen's always got that marketing hat on. See, there you go. So hi, Renella. Hi, May White. May is saying that is great. And we've got quite a few people from the Inspire to Achieve Global TV group. And we've got Sabrina online. Hi, Sabrina. Sabrina's somebody that you two, gosh, a day wouldn't be enough for you and Sabrina to get together. Once your heads got together and you shared ideas and stuff, the two of you get each other going.
Oh, excellent. Well, I must share also, because we do have the platform, and since I have it, I will talk. I don't shut up that easily. The other thing I'm very passionate about, and I know you are passionate about this as well, is women economic empowerment. And that comes across in some of my other work I'm doing, and which I'm driving as well, not just doing. So over the last almost 6 years, I found myself getting drawn into projects which were opening up markets and spaces for women-owned businesses to actually succeed. When I walked out of the number one global corporate in the world, financial services, to start my own company 11 years ago, it was daunting. It was terrifying. I was on my own. I had just walked out of a big corporate and suddenly found myself having to start finding my accountant, finding my feet, being able to do all the stuff I was used to having this great big machine behind me do. And I know this is something that I'm seeing you nod, Roxanne. Everybody goes through this, especially if you come from a large corporate background and you start your own business. People who probably never worked in that environment, in a way, are free of that baggage. But it takes a while to drop it off. And I remember for the first year when I was actually setting up on my own, I felt like a fraud. I used to go around and say, "Oh, I've got my own business," because I couldn't get used to the fact I've walked out of literally the number one name in the world and other really big global names. And all of a sudden, Market Access is here. And Market Access goes to the front. You almost sound like something out of the Avengers or the Crusaders. So it took a while for me to get my self-belief going and to feel proud of the fact of where I am. And 11 years ago was a different time to as it is now. Networking was different. Setting yourself up was different. And whilst I have never ever worn a hat which says, "Look at me because I'm a woman, you need to listen to me," I used to find that it was a harder sell in a lot of situations when I was selling the business. Come forward 4 or 5 years, when all of a sudden I started speaking to a lot of business owners, many like you, Roxanne. I don't think I quite knew you 6 years ago, but you are in exactly the same sphere of women, very influential women, very inspiring women, very strong women in what they do, really confident of their expertise and power, but all facing that wall that needed that real push. And I was thinking to myself, I can do far better if I actually work within this to open up those doors, because I know what I have faced. So a lot of my work actually, I call it my projects and initiatives. So they're not part of my day job, but in a funny way, a lot of it this year has started crossing over. I joined an organization, and through it, I actually ended up becoming part of the team that's building the first ever UK economic blueprint for women owned businesses. And what this does is women owned businesses like you, Roxanne, and like me, and many more over there our guests today, will be able to come to a central position, a central hub, a digital hub, and find that they can gain access to information, resourcing, HR, training, financial services, which were hitherto not open to them, as well as markets. So they will be able to go in and tender for projects, especially projects coming from the large corporates and public services, which it was very hard to get into. Now, over the years, we've also had more initiatives coming, especially from the UK, for those of you that aren't here, in terms of opening up the market and trying to get the SMEs into the supply chain. But this first
question for you though, because in terms of that, one of the things that you mentioned before is that coming out of, say, a large corporate where the structure was already there, the teams were there to do specific jobs, and you can focus on your bit. And then when you come out and you're running your own business, it's all on your shoulders. The buck stops with you. And if you decide not to get up and do anything in your business, nothing happens in your business.
Yes.
And so you're then starting up. What was it like in terms of confidence? Because I know this is something else that a lot of women who then go into business struggle with, is that confidence and self-belief that they've got what it takes to actually run a successful business.
There's been a lot of research in the last 3 to 4 years that has been aimed at women-owned businesses, especially SMEs. And funnily enough, one of the findings that runs across all of that research is women lack confidence. I don't believe it, because today I know I don't lack confidence, because I did not even have the networks to tap into, or the communities. These communities did not really exist 11, 12 years ago. Today they are there. So it is easier to tap into networks and communities and get that information. If you know your area, you will not lack confidence in what you're doing. You will probably lack confidence in marketing the business. You'll lack confidence in gaining financial support, especially if you're trying to get a loan, or you're requiring financing to go and open your manufacturing plant, or you're trying to go into deals and negotiations. You probably lack confidence when it comes to sitting in front of, if, let's say you sell a product and you want to go and sell it to some of the larger supermarkets. You've got to arm yourself, put your proposal together, go present your proposal, be in a showcase, probably have 3 or 4 other competitors, and win the bid. That is lack of confidence coming from lack of experience and lack of exposure. So I don't necessarily call it lack of confidence, because lack of confidence will be a much wider sphere. You know what I'm talking about, because I know that you do both coaching and mentoring. Mm-hmm. You can find these tools, information, networks, hubs to get into, and communities to back you up. So today, for you, if you feel that you're lacking confidence, it could be something more internal rather than you lacking confidence because you're trying to set up the business. So that shouldn't be something that actually blocks you from going forward, because you can find the help and assistance that you need.
Wow, that is powerful. And I know in terms, one of the things that I know you do is also not just helping women open up markets, say within the UK, but also looking at how they prepare themselves to be prepared to go global and therefore have that expansion. Now, you mentioned about manufacturing. So what about a woman that's providing a service? So like yourself,
Yeah.
how easy was it for you to go into new markets when you decided to start your business?
Um, I started tackling international markets a bit later on rather than in my first year of business, which probably was a bit of a godsend for me then, because it would have been quite a bit to handle with just the tools I had in hand. When I actually started picking up the international business, and most of my business actually grew through referrals and networking and my community.
Mm.
Um, some of the problems and challenges I faced were actually down to contracting, negotiating, even getting paid and making sure I can get paid in local currency and according to my dates rather than when they wanted to pay me, because most of the international companies will start trying to put you on 45, 60-day payment structures, which obviously for an SME don't work. So it was sitting down. I had a good lawyer with me as well who helped me to make sense of these contracts, because I am by no means a legal expert, although these days I've read through so many of them, I can make heads and tails out of them. But you do need that hand holding and that support when you're coming to actually move into the international markets. There's a cultural situation which you need to understand. You've got financial, because you've got to understand your tax situation. There's different jurisdictions, especially when it comes to where are you delivering the service and how are you getting paid? Is the service local but delivered internationally, or are you actually selling your services internationally, such as you, Roxanne, maybe giving your training, your mentoring or coaching to some clients based in, let's say, the US, because that's a totally different jurisdiction. In this case, you will need to actually ascertain how are you going to get paid. If you get paid in sterling and you're billing a local company, even though the training is being given in the States, you're not actually exporting as seen from the eyes of HMRC for your tax, and even in terms of a definition from the Trade Department. You, on the other hand, are having to deal with a cultural difference, time difference, packaging difference. You're going to have to be doing trips back and forth in terms of actually delivering it. So it's there's a lot of different parts of the offer which need to be brought into line. They must be aligned properly to make sure you deliver and you don't end up on a losing foot yourself, because it's very easy. You tend to go and give that extra mile. You're putting a lot into it, and you may be miscalculating the days you're actually spending on it, your extra expenses which come through, taxes that may be hitting you as you're going through it. So this is an area which, funnily enough, I've been looking into, especially because of the work I'm doing on the UK economic blueprint. I also sit on the all-party parliamentary group for women in enterprise, and we have been working hard for the last 2 years, and we're going to be issuing a report, in fact, in the next month and a bit. Is being pulled together. And this has been looking at 7 key areas, which include coaching and mentoring, access to finance, data information, supply chains, education, and international trade and exports. And I have been leading on the international trade and exports, and we have actually presented a lot of recommendations to help not just women-owned businesses, but SMEs in terms of exporting better. So when this is out, I will make sure I forward you a copy, and please be circulate.
Exactly, because what you've just mentioned is very much in line with the ethos of Yes You Can, Inspire to Achieve, in that there are, we all come together with our different skill sets and our knowledge base to help and support those people that want to progress in what they want to do. Now, a lot of people that are connected to us are businesses, but we're not just focusing on females, we're everybody, and wherever you are around the globe. If you want to, go take yourself to the next level and excel, what support systems do you need? What do you need? And so we do that with people. So, for example, okay, you've done, all the glorious bits that you've been doing. Say, for example, you wanted to write your book around what you've done. So it may be how your life story will inspire somebody else. It may be your hints and tips. That's what we say. Well, okay, we can help you do that. If you're now, because I know you do some speaking already, you do your webinars and everything. to expand on that and make sure that people are equipped to have everything that they need to support and grow their business, it's on a similar mindset to say, well, okay, who do you go to support you, and how can we support you in doing that? But jumping over some of the hurdles without falling over, should we say, so that you can do it a bit quicker than say, you did it, I did it, and even other members of the team did it. Because we've got the track record. There's, it's proven that if you can do this, this, and this, and you know that you're supported and you feel supported, how much more can you do?
And I take you back to the platform we're building. That will be eventually, when it's done in 5-6 years' time, the hub, the one place where your community is there. And it will bring in people such as yourself, because Roxanne, I know that you actually are a coach. And like you, I'm sure there's many others actually even on this session. There are a lot of experts that you can actually ask for advice. I would recommend that you network and join communities, because that is your supportive group. It is very easy to get the tools you need. It's not rocket science. You can ask business advisors and they can help you get set up. In the UK, I know that we do have this facility. Abroad, in areas, I'm not exactly all up to date with the facilities they have, but I am sure they are there, because it would be impossible not to. And this goes for all SMEs. I'm not talking just from women-owned businesses. I found that most today, if you speak to businesses like yourself and a lot of other advisors, they would, if I had met them 11, 12 years ago, I would have cut down my go-to-market time. Not physically in terms of opening up and saying I'm in business, but in being able to not sort of go, me, yes, I run my own business. Loud and proud, yes, I am the principal and founder of Market Access of any other company that it is I've set up. So it's actually growing within my own skin. And I suppose any startup, probably if you've walked out of a large corporate or you're doing it from an area of expertise because you found yourself, I really want to do this, will need that emerging from the cocoon moment, when you've actually gotten your offer, your value proposition thought out, you've set it on paper, you can talk about it, you can actually verbalize it properly. If I stopped you in the street and asked you in 1 minute, 60 seconds, can you tell me what you do? You can do it without stopping to think which is the best word to use. And that's what I call the coming out of the cocoon moment. And there are a lot of these networks that actually help for you to start networking and to start talking. And I would suggest to anybody starting their business, network, because the people you meet will help you grow than if you had to do it on your own. And you don't need to do it on your own. There are so many people who want to help. I have found help and I haven't gone asking for it, because once you've actually made a connection with someone, they are eager to help you. Nobody's going to close the door on you. So it's only up to you to ask. And if you ask and ask, you will be referred onwards and your business will grow as well. So if you don't speak and you're not networking, your business will never grow, because your business is going to grow through relationships that you foster, and relationships come through from the networking and the trust that you encounter.
Right. So let's see some of the comments. We're seeing a lot of truths and wows and great stuff. Well said. So, absolutely. Wow, there was one. It's not just about confidence, about the confidence. It is about how. Well, okay. So we've got somebody here their comment was about how men are treating the women. Now, okay, you and I both have been in sort of different elements of corporate and non-corporate, and is it solely how men are treating women, or is it also how women are treating women? What have you found? Yeah, you know where this is going.
Enemies. Yes, we are our worst enemies. I have worked in very large corporates. I'm not going to harp on, is this a male against women situation, because I don't believe in that. And as I said, for a long time, I was never going down this route. However, you cannot fail to actually acknowledge the fact that there have not been as many opportunities open for everyone. And in here, we bring in inclusion, and that is not just women, it's anyone. And it's also a fair fact to say that men have been longer at it than we have, because of the fact that they have been mostly longer in business than we have. So we have joined the world of business at a much younger space. If you see it as a continuum, we're still in the infantile stage. So a lot of the doors, we're having to push them open. These days I hate having to talk about, oh, this should be an opportunity open for all, I'm a woman-owned business, blah blah blah, because we should not even be bringing it up as part of the discussion. But it's very obvious that in a lot of industries, some more than others, there still is this very fine line differentiating between women and men, whether it's gender pay gap, whether it's opportunities, whether it's even a matter of the way women speak to get negotiations, to get increases in salaries, to get funding. And these are areas which have all been researched. So I'm not actually just pulling facts out of the air. There is enough to back this up. Women do sometimes not help themselves, and maybe, and this comes back to the confidence and the way you control yourself, and there's a lot of tools they could probably learn to make sure this isn't there, because as I said, we are still new to this game in a lot of ways, and we're still learning as we go along. So it is a matter of recognizing where we're failing and understanding to push it. We need to continue pushing, because the doors are not going to open on their own. But I don't think there really are that many doors which are continuously being closed, because they aren't. It is up for us to push it and make sure we have a seat at the table and we can be heard. I don't want to be overspoken or have my ideas taken over by somebody else purely because I'm there at the table and I shouldn't have a voice. So I don't know if that brings it across. I'm not trying to be polemic or confrontational.
And because I know, well, I've seen you in a room, a mixed crowd, and I've seen you maneuver your way in, and there's no way, shape, or form it's a case of, because you're a woman, you're not going to get your point across, and you're not going to approach whoever it is you need to speak to. Now, you may not want me to share this, but I'm going to share this. I think it was back in March. You know where I'm going.
Sure, carry on.
It was back in March. We were both at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office.
Oh, yes.
For a certain gentleman who's no longer in office, so we won't mention his name.
No.
And I saw you do this little, I don't know, what was it? A Mission Impossible maneuver. It's like, okay, we're speaking to this person. They're not getting away from us. And it was front and center here. We don't care. We want 5 minutes of your time. All right, 2 minutes of your time. But we got the result that we wanted.
Yeah, and we got the time.
Yeah, but even someone said that he sent us to go and book an appointment.
Yeah.
With his diary secretary on the spot.
Yeah. So this is what I meant. There isn't a door which is closed. It's waiting for me to open it. And this is what I would, if I had to give a message to anyone, is no door is really closed. You can push it, and you can push it as much as you wish. So this comes back to the question you asked earlier, which was confidence. Yes, this is confidence. But it's confidence in what we want and what we want to do. So if I'm pushing to get something for my clients, something for my business, something for my family, my friends, I will always have a cause, and I'm always happy to push the door. And I am not ashamed to do it, and I'm not afraid to do it, because I have no reason to be.
Wow. Fabulous. Well said.
Sorry, I just closed the conversation there.
Well, to me, it is very much that. And I can, relate to that in the context of I've ended up in roles and doing things that I didn't even envisage myself doing. Yeah. And it's been because my attitude is, well, just try and see, have a go. And a lot of people sort of quote Richard Branson, if an opportunity is given to you, say yes, and then think about how you're going to do it afterwards. And I know, for example, back 5 or 6 years ago, when I was asked to project manage a huge project, I said yes. Didn't know why I was saying yes, but I said yes, and it worked. Last October, when I was asked to become the chair of the charity, I was like, oh gosh, I've got so much to do, but okay. And then after the event, it was like, okay, Noreen, we're in this together, but that's the attitude that, okay, yes, I'll do it, but then there's always ways to make it work. And as we've now found that together, we've been able to find a very sort of systematic way of getting things done, where we're not overly taxed, we're not, having to be working around the clock on this project that's taken us away from other things, but we're getting results.
Yeah. And I think you touched on one of the most important aspects of all of it, which is the support. Because knowing you can be confident if you have the support either of a team, your family, your friends, your colleagues. And this is why I said as well, network and get into a community. You don't need to lack confidence in your abilities unless you really don't have those abilities, and then go and get the skill set. But if you feel supported, you can push that door open. And the door opens. As you said, looking at what we've done together at the charity, there's a lot of instances when I thought, like, how are we going to get through all of this? But we worked as a team, and the team worked. I have been in other situations, and like you, I've sometimes accepted jobs where I sort of went back and thought, like, okay, I've got to really break this down to make sure we can deliver on this. I know I can call on. And then I start thinking of who am I bringing into it. And for me, it's also a matter of collaboration, which helps me to actually deliver and scale up. And that has worked. It's support. And through support, you actually gain the confidence to be able to push those doors.
There's a word that you just said that is so crucial.
Yes, collaboration.
It is, especially in this day and age, because everything moves so quickly, and with technology and everything else, if we're not collaborating, we can get left behind, because there's no more this thing, oh, it's my baby, it's all about me, it's mine, it's mine. It's, well, okay, who's got the skills, or who's done a step that I haven't done, and how can we best support each other so that we both progress, or we all progress? And through doing that, you get so many steps further ahead.
Yeah.
And if you sit there thinking, oh, it's all mine and I'm going to do it all by myself, and where do you get?
Not far.
No.
And that really, you won't get far. And it's funny because it is one of those buzzwords. If we're not careful, a lot of people do misunderstand collaboration. Collaboration isn't just, oh yeah, I like you, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to work on this. It's actually working together on a joint vision and participating equally and knowing where the boundary lines are and how you're actually bridging them. So if businesses are working together, they're working in partnership, they're working for a common aim, they do not lose their identity, they are not competing with each other, they're enhancing each other's proposition. And that is a very, very important aspect to collaboration. Collaboration isn't merging or takeover. That's not collaboration. So it's a very important point. And probably you can have another full conversation discussing collaboration.
And we are at our roundup time, so it's gone so quickly.
I could talk forever.
I could talk all night. But let me just, before we round off, let me just read a few messages. So Gordon actually said, it's still difficult for women to succeed in their own business and careers in other countries as well, which is sad on a personal and a national level. Excellent advice, comments, and reality check, Noreen. Well done.
Well, thank you, Gordon.
Yes, thank you for that, Gordon. And we know that Gordon's one of those men that works very well with women, and he puts his creative flair into what he's doing, and looks at, well, how can I deliver it, and let's make it possible. So on air and in public, to however many thousands of people that will see this, thank you, Gordon. So we really do appreciate you. And then we've got one from Marcia Lorraine Finn, and she's saying, hi, Noreen. Does your organisation work with small businesses that could do with help, advice, or financial support? She has a handmade jewellery business that's been running for a few years now. So maybe she needs to touch base and find out what you would suggest.
Reach out and let's have a conversation. As I said, this is part of the collaboration and the community. If we can help you, we shall. Otherwise, we will find areas to actually help you. I love jewelry, by the way. That's the little thing I love doing in my free time. So I will speak to you in any case.
And then Sabrina says, one has to exercise that muscle in order to gain confidence within that specific area. So again, this is going back to what you were saying. Once you do so and get the experience and practice, then you have the confidence to say, well, I do this and put yourself forward. Wow. So, on that note, as I said, this has been, it feels like we've been running, we've on this train, and it's gone so quickly. It's like I can ask you so much more, but we do have to wrap up now. So I really would like to thank you so much for joining us this evening and for giving up part of your Friday evening to be with us and to speak to our guests and our viewers. And I just invite everyone to keep sharing, liking and commenting. Elizabeth Lucas just came on and said hi, Noreen and Roxanne. And she's a lovely lady. So,
I think I can see my cousin. Hi, Maria.
Oh, so you got a cousin, Maria, on there. Hi, Maria.
She's a very well accomplished lady herself, a journalist.
Wow.
So good to see her there. Great.
Excellent. Fabulous. Thanks for joining us, Maria. And, thank you to everybody that's joined us this evening, because without you viewing and giving your comments and your questions, it would have been the two of us having a great chat, but you've added value to us. And before she goes, I'd like to ask Noreen if she has a parting message that she'd like to share with everybody.
Oh, gosh, that would take too long.
No,
I'd like to say thank you to everyone for bearing with me for the last half an hour, 45 minutes I've been chatting away. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor. And I'm actually humbled to be listened to by so many people. If I have to give my roundup, my few words of inspiration all boiled into one, I would say just believe in yourself. You really don't know how far you can go. You are the only one who will set your limitations. You have a dream, follow it. Don't let anybody kill that dream. You can close the dream or put it aside because you can't really fulfill it at the moment, but never let it be extinguished.
Wow. Powerful. Thank you so much, Noreen. And all I would say is have a lovely weekend. And I will be seeing you very soon, in fact. So I'm looking forward to it. And we can continue this
Monday morning.
Are they ready for us, Noreen?
Yeah. Excellent.
Oh,
thank you very much. And good night, everyone.
All right. You take care. Have a good one. And I would just say goodbye to everybody. So thank you for joining. Have a fabulous weekend. And I'm not even giving you a task to do over the weekend now. All I'm going to do is invite you to, relax, release, reconnect, and recharge so that you can start your week next week on a high and really focused and ready to go. Start the week so that you know what you want to accomplish. If there are 3 to 5 things you want to accomplish next week, plan it out over the weekend so that you can hit the ground running on Monday morning and get the results that you want and you deserve. So thank you for being with us in the Executive Suite on Inspired to Achieve Global TV. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday evening at 7 p.m. Bye for now.